Hello. Last week, Monday, we did Whirligig by Paul Fleischman. Uh, and it ended where a young man felt his car drifting to the left, felt his hands jerk, but kept them on his thighs. You have the power to end your life now. Very slowly, he closed his eyes. Hello, Morgan. So this week we are on chapter 2, which is titled Weeksboro, Maine. You completely leave the young man who drove his car off the cliff. Don't know where this is going. Would you mind telling me where we're going? To a motorboat waiting in a cove, said Alexandra, ready to take us to French Duke's estate. To a French Duke's estate on one of Maine's countless islands, there to join his harem. Dream on. I bumped her off the shoveled sidewalk and into the snow. I'm serious. C'est une surprise, said Alexandra. You know I'm taking German. I also know you're brilliant enough to figure it out, and that I hate surprises. Honestly, Steph, relax. The clearest winter days are the coldest. I gave my scarf a third and nearly fatal wrap around my neck. It's too freezing outside for Ouija walking, an Alexander invention in which you walk without any conscious plan, letting your feet go where they will. We're not going Ouija walking, she said. The Nook is closed on Sundays, so we can't steal scenes. Another of her amusements, consisting of ordering something at Weeksboro's one restaurant, listening to the people at the neighboring table, then talking about what they are talking about. Carburetors, hysterectomies, completely ignoring them when they stare at you. Butterfing Fanta Morgan and Project 10, hello. We're not heading toward the Nook, as you can plainly see, Cher. We passed the town hall, fanged with icicles, and turned down Beach Street. So, where are we going? Out to the point near Pam McQuillan's to throw a lifeline to a friend in distress. What friend? Alexander smiled. You. I stopped, but she didn't. I caught up, skidding on the ice. What are you talking about? She sighed, producing a cloud of vapor. You don't like surprises. You like certainties, facts, an extremely dangerous side effect of having marine biologists for parents. So, let's look at the facts. First, we're eighth graders. We're in our biological prime. In many cultures around the world, we'd already be married and bearing children. Soon our beauty will fade. Very soon. Just look at Sheila Spurl's older sister. Second, hi, Wanda Lee. 3 weeks and 6 days ago, Trevor and I pledged our love to each other. Third, you remain unattached, as you've been all 2.5 years of middle school. Fourth, it's the Christmas holidays, a time known to be especially painful for single people like yourself. Fifth and last, and most important, we've been best friends ever since nursery school. Who else but me has written you a birthday poem for 6 years straight? And who else besides you shows up at the great books discussion group I started? I don't want this to come between us, Steph. We have to find you a boyfriend. We turned down Bolton Road. I was stunned. What if you got waiting out there? I pictured a selection of boys tied to trees and pinned naked in cages. And who says I even want a boyfriend? If you won't say it, then I will. Alexandra pulled her cap over her ears. Communing with the urchins and eels in your aquariums can't be totally satisfying. It's time to move up to warm-blooded creatures. Boys, I'll admit, don't satisfy all needs. It's difficult to discuss Jane Austen with Trevor. Extremely difficult. That's why I value you. But there are some things males do awfully well, like rape, warfare, water pollution, and some things that you could do to attract them. Letting your hair grow out, for one. Show me one Playboy model who looks like she gets her hair done by the U.S. Marines. Long hair is mesmerizing to male humans. This is the kind of science you should be studying. Long hair is a hassle. Life is a hassle. La vie est dure, but it's worth it, right? You could also stoop to using makeup, eyeliner, blush, something on your lips, and look like some washed up Hollywood star on the cover of the National Enquirer? I could see Alexandra roll her eyes. Didn't we have this exact discussion at sailing camp last summer? I'm telling you, the natural windblown look won't get you very far. It's strictly for the homeless and war refugees. She sighed. It's as if you're trying to repel boys. When we got to choose a language last year, you could have picked French, the language of love. Instead, you had to choose German, the most masculine language on the face of the earth. Honestly, Steph, a girl taking German might as well write gay and proud on her forehead. I don't believe it. Have you ever been asked out? I had no reply to toss back at her. And then there's your name. And what's wrong with that? Nothing, said Alexandra. If you'd use it, Stephanie says slinky and shapely. A perfect name to go with long hair. But when I hear Steph, the first thing that comes to my mind is strep, as in strep throat. I am being brutally honest with you. Thanks, I noticed. I jammed my gloves in my pockets. Of course, since I'm not slinky or shapely, and in fact am in every department with freckles and oily drab brown hair, Steph seems like the perfect name for me. Alexandra was silent. She seemed to shrink into her parka, trying to be less tall, less blonde, less beautiful. She kicked a rock. I'm sorry, Steph. Please delete this entire conversation. She mimed, pressing a computer key. You're incredibly intelligent, funny, loyal, another Marie Curie in our midst, and any bonehead boy who doesn't see this is a total idiot. We passed by the McQuillan's house. Fortunately, the method we'll be using should attract a male who's worthy of you. We could now glimpse the bay and the gaps between the spruces. We turned off the road toward an abandoned house. What about the keep out sign? You mustn't take everything so literally, Steph. She blazed a path down the unplowed drive, punching her boots through the foot of snow. And despite my praise for your intelligence, it would be best to leave your literal, logical mind behind at this point. There's a Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie. We have a Stephanie in our book tonight. Whirligig. So, leave your literal, logical mind behind at this point. Hey, no problem. Call me Lucille Ball. Gulls squawked mockingly above. We passed the empty house, its white paint peeling and half its windows boarded up. We tramped between a clothesline and a shed, leaning drunkenly to one side. The water was in full view now, an icy wind plucking at it and turning my face to stone. So why are we here of all places? That's why. Alexander stopped and pointed at a strange contraption near the edge of the cliff. What is it? We approached. It was as big as a box kite and mounted on a pole, gesticulating wildly with moving arms, vanes, wheels, and propellers, large and small. I'd never seen it. It was all different colors. It didn't resemble anything in particular except at the top, where there was a woman's head. Attached to her hair were three reflectors. Shells and chimes hung around her neck, even with half the moving parts stuck. A gust blowing through it set off a flurry of fluttering and shimmering and ringing as if a flock of exotic birds was taking flight. I squinted my eyes against the wind. Who made it? I think we can rule out the pilgrims. How should I know? It's always been here. What's written on the wood? Leah Rosalia Santos Zamora. What's that? I'm pretty sure it's a prayer to the wind. And how is this thing going to get me a boyfriend? It isn't. Alexander pulled a paperback book from her back pocket. But this will. She handed it to me. It was called, I love the name of this book, Guided Imagery for Successful Living. I gawked at her. You've got to be kidding. Do you even know what guided imagery is? No, but I know I don't like it. You said the same thing last year about boiling down Pepsi and pouring it over ice cream. Now you love it. This is different. Then you can forget what I said about Marie Curie. She believed in the scientific method, observation, hypothesis, experiment. So, what's the hypothesis? That thoughts are powerful, that they're the seeds of events, that by thinking something, we can help make it happen. It was my turn to roll my eyes. I can't believe you found a way to link Marie Curie with this mumbo jumbo. This is not mumbo jumbo. She took back the book and struggled to turn the pages with down mittens on her hands. Here, listen. All that is the result of what we have thought. Wow, I'm convinced. I want to join your cult, unless we have to pierce our noses. That was written for your information by an ancient Buddhist monk named Yogi Berra. Stop it, Steph. This is serious. I'll say it is. If I get frostbite standing here, why can't we talk this over somewhere else? Because this is the perfect place for guided imagery. She pointed at the flashing whirligig. You can't see the wind, but look at what it can do. It's invisible, but powerful. Like thoughts. One brings a bunch of junk to life. The other brings desires to life. And it's better if you broadcast your thoughts outside. I did a visualization in this exact spot about acing an algebra test, and it worked. I'm sure it's because of the whirligig. It symbolizes all unseen forces. She stared at me. It's it's like electricity, an invisible power that people didn't know existed for centuries. If you learn to use thoughts, you can do all kinds of things. She flipped through the book. There are visualizations here to make you resistant to illness, to overcome stress, to build confidence. Let's hear it. Alexandra stamped down a circle of snow and sat. I did the same, leaning my back against hers. Seek out a comfortable, nurturing place. Feel the gentle air against your skin and your butt freezing to the ground. Perhaps you'll choose a quiet room or a peaceful corner of a garden. Breathe deeply. Feel yourself relax. Now, feel the inner strength within you. Imagine this strength is a mighty river. Oh, for those with low confidence, a drip from a faucet. We're going to take a journey down this river. But remember, do not drink the water. She threw down the book. I'm trying to help you. She dumped a handful of snow on my head. But your scoffing scientific mind won't let me. Secretly, you want to be an old maid. Despite her 7 Nobel Prizes, the 88-year-old spinster was in contact with neither friends nor relations. Her decomposed body had apparently been lying on her laboratory floor for years. The corpse was identified through dental records. Now, there's some imagery I could go for. 7 Nobel Prizes? Laugh your head off. Listen, Alexandra, I'm sorry, but it's too much like those men on TV who bend spoons with their thoughts. That's quackery. This isn't. And are you going to tell me there's a fantasy in that book that attracts boyfriends? Not exactly. I thought I'd create one just for you. You don't need a book. Anyone can lead a visualization. It's too cold and windy. The wind helps, don't you get it? It'll carry my words away like seeds and plant them in the future. You are a true, mush-headed dreamer. Thank you. And you're a closed-minded skeptic. Now, what do you say? Either I say yes or I freeze to death arguing. Make it fast and let's go. Great, she said, but you wouldn't want me to skimp on details, would you? I mean, we're deciding your future. You don't want the standard LL Bean wasp boyfriend in plaid or navy. You want someone designed just for you. It's you I'm doing this for, not me. Have faith, mon ami. Okay, close your eyes. We were back to back, so she couldn't see me. I obeyed anyway. It's summer, July. Must be a cold spell. You feel the balmy air on your skin as you complete your pleasant morning sail and tack into Portland's harbor. Your hand is on the tiller of the 16-foot, all-wood, gaff-rigged sailboat your parents have bought you. Painted across the stern is the name you've chosen for it. Free Spirit. Why not Hunk of Love and my phone number? Shh, you'll wreck it. You tie up at the dock. You haul down the sails and check the specimens in the holding tanks you fitted it out with. You step ashore, your waist-length hair waving in the breeze like kelp. Guys really go for kelp-like hair. Would you shut up and listen for a change? She paused, seeming to search for what to have happen next. Leisurely, you make your way up to Belk's department store. You enter and glance at the perfumes. Then know that the confidence and beauty you project is more potent than any scent. You go up 2 floors and try on a gorgeously embroidered French sundress. It is not on sale. You buy it anyway and decide to wear it. Next, you drift into the lingerie department. You approach the bras, find the 28s, and don't stop until you reach the D cups. No, I said, that's too big. I opened my eyes to see if the wind had already carried off this request. The whirligig was spinning merrily. You buy one. The scrawny saleswoman gives you an envious glare. Then you exit the store, stroll 3 doors down the block, and enter a coffee house. Your parents have encouraged you to drink coffee to slow your amazing growth. In this year, you've shot up to 5'8.5". Standing in line, you feel male eyes upon you. You turn and see him. He's tall, like you. His neck is as thick as a tree trunk. He glances back at the Sports Illustrated. His lips move not only when he reads, but when he looks at the photographs. A Neanderthal. You avert your eyes, you get an iced coffee and take a seat far away. My teeth are chattering like maniacs, and I'm supposed to imagine drinking iced coffee? Quiet. You pick up a French newspaper from an empty table and begin to read fluently. Through an intensive course on videotape, you've mastered the language in record time. Last night, you realized you had a dream in French, powerfully erotic, drenching you in sweat. A man now approaches. She paused, deliberating. He's wearing a beret. He's handsome, young, and speaks to you in French. You instantly detect his faulty pronunciation of the French R, then an incorrect participle. He's a coffee house cad, a pickup artist. You send him away with a brisk laissez-moi, an idiom meaning I'm not real anyway. You finish your drink, walk to a bookstore, and wander over to the magazines. You pick up the latest Crab and Clam. Reading it while sauntering down the sidewalk, you feel a nudge. A man's grabbing your purse. Your body is ready, fluid, and forceful as you crush his instep and try out a new combination of moves from your self-defense training. You regret that he'll be in traction for years. The police cart him off and compliment you. You're discouraged, however, by the sad specimens of manhood you've encountered this day. The glow of your mental and physical powers is a beacon, alas, to the entire male sex. Aren't you getting a little grabby? She was silent. Then she inhaled deeply, as if swelling with inspiration. You walk back to your boat and examine more closely the strange eel you netted on the way down. You suspect you've discovered a new species and wonder who you'll name it for, immortalizing the person you choose. You raise the sails, cast off, and head off. She paused. Past Princess Point, you spot something to starboard. A lobster buoy. No, a human head. Then a hand comes up, waving for help. You tack, come alongside, heave to, and help the unfortunate aboard. He's 16, tall and lean, with a gypsy's black hair and soulful eyes. He can't stop shivering. Well, there's something we have in common. He'd capsized while sea kayaking and had become separated from his craft. You help him take off his wet clothes and wrap him in a blanket. He's unable to get warm. You spot symptoms of hypothermia. You have no hot drinks or source of heat. Suddenly, from your first aid class, you remember about heat donation. Without a thought, you do as you learned. You throw off your sundress and everything underneath and embrace him tightly under the blanket, passing your body's warmth to him. She halted, seeming to savor the story. The color begins to return to his cheeks. You notice the slightest of accents when he speaks. He reveals that he's Canadian, French Canadian. He spots your copy of Crab and Clam and mentions that he has a subscription. For 5 years, he's been studying barnacle reproduction. Sadness clouds his eyes when he tells you that both of his parents are dead and that barnacles are his only real family. You remain together under the blanket longer than is strictly required. She paused. When you emerge, he knows there will be more in his life than barnacles. And you know who you'll name your new species for. Alexandra was quiet for a time. Now, just sit, eyes closed, and hold the image in your head. Like a with your sarcastic mouth shut. I leaned back against her for 5 frigid minutes, listening to the visible wind powering the whirligig. It rattled, hummed, squeaked, and chimed. Then I heard a different kind of sound, a human sound, a soft throat clearing. I opened my eyes. My heart began racing. Had her words lured a mate already? Impossible, I thought. I was still 5'1". But what else would bring someone to the point in that weather? Disbelieving, fearful, hopeful, I slowly turned my head and stared. All that was 3 winters ago. I'm only 5'4", still a 28A. I do not own my own sailboat. I still classify my manner of thinking as logical and scientific, which is why I have trouble explaining how the 9-year-old boy who watched us that day turned out to be the little brother of Kyle, who lives 2 towns west and was visiting relatives here over Christmas, the McQuillans, and who's been my heart's joy since that day we met. He is neither French Canadian, tall, a biologist, nor a sea kayaker. Jazz trumpet is his life. He plays his compositions to me over the phone. I haven't become a mush-headed dreamer, but just in case unseen forces do exist, I pay my respects to them by keeping the whirligig painted and repaired. I check it after every winter. Sometimes Alexandra helps. We're careful about what we say while we're there, despite which I had no hesitation in announcing that when I discover a new species, out of gratitude, I'll give it her name. And that's the end of chapter 2 of Whirligig. The book kind of jumps around. I'm thinking that there are 4 different people that this is going to talk about. So we've met the first one. The first one was the boy, Brent, who drove his car off the edge of wherever. And then this was Stephanie from Maine. So, how is everybody tonight? Everybody doing good? It's getting dark here in Middle Tennessee. It was in the 90s today, but it's supposed to get down in the 60s tonight. So Anybody have anything to say? Um, Butterfinger Phantom Morgan. I will finish the yearling or my husband will. He actually is supposed to be the one who finishes it, but I think he is going to, what do I want to say? Not do what he said he was going to do. So, yes, I will be finishing the yearling, or it will be finished one way or the other. I promise. We're on chapter 18 now, I think. So, we have 33 chapters in that book. So, we have we are just halfway through the book. So, anyway, yes, Stephanie, thank you very much. I am blessed this evening. Thank you all for coming. Hello, Wanda. I didn't say hello to you earlier. All right, you guys, until next Monday, have a great weekend. And remember to tell the people that you love them. Until next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and grant you his peace. Shalom.